Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Whew, what a day. It is Thursday, but you're watching this, it's Friday. So I hope you have an awesome Friday. I hope you have an awesome weekend planned. I hope the weather's nice. You can get out and ride. I've got a pretty big weekend planned. Mama Badger is headed out with Nerdy Badger for the weekend. So I've got the gas tanks for black that I need to get done. I have a part coming that I believe will work for the V-Rod, so I've got that to fix. And then an RC race on Sunday. So it should be a packed weekend for me. Seems like I always find something to do. Today's video. So we've been talking a lot about affording motorcycles and what it costs and all this week. I also asked some questions in our Facebook page and in our groups this week, and it kind of goes right along with that subject. So one of the questions was, how many miles does your Harley Davidson currently have? And I averaged out, I had about 400 comments. So what I did was I took those comments, I added up all the mileage, and then I divided it by how many bikes. So if they said one bike has 19,000 and another bike has 30,000, that's 49,000. I added 49,000 and then I basically divided that by 2 bikes. So I took all the answers, I divided it up by the amount of bikes, and I came up with a number. So it looks like out of those 400 bikes, the average amount of miles on each bike was 55,000 miles. Actually, it was like 56,322, but we're going with 55 for a nice round number. Anyway, I was actually a little surprised. I don't see a whole lot of motorcycles over 20,000 miles. So I have to admit, I was a little surprised that the average was 55,000 miles. But that tells you that our page is followed by people that actually ride their motorcycles, right? Not the ones that park it in the garage. At least that's what I took from it. Anywho, so our average was 55,000 miles. And then I asked what people consider high mileage on a bike. And these answers were all over the place. A lot of them, of course, were smart asses and said, well, it depends on the bike. If it's a Harley, it's 35,000 miles, but if it's a Honda, it's 100,000 miles. Personally, I have had great luck with all my Harleys, right? I've got 45,000 miles on the V-Rod. I've had a starter solenoid go out on it. I have 165,000 miles on my gray bike. I have rebuilt the motor on it. I've got 110,000 on Mama Badger's bike. We've never done anything to it. So I've had great luck. I really, really, truly believe it just depends on the people riding it, depends on the maintenance, and there's a little luck involved there too, because honestly, it's mechanical. Anything can break at any time. So that's just life. And so some people are unlucky and some people are lucky. I don't know what else to tell you, but that is a fact. So anyway, I asked everybody, what they considered high mileage. And for me, basically, I would say anything above like 50,000 miles on a motorcycle, I consider higher mileage. So when you're buying a motorcycle, you have to kind of have to throw this all into a factor, right? So one, how mechanically inclined are you, right? So I am not afraid to buy a motorcycle over 50,000 miles. But as you guys know, I am also mechanically inclined enough to fix most everything myself. So I'm not that worried about it. The other thing is, when I go to look at a bike, like I'm looking at many factors, right? So, and I get asked a lot, what do I look at when I'm buying a motorcycle? Well, first off, look at how well it's taken care of, right? Is it clean when you went to look at it? I mean, was it just shoved in the corner of a garage somewhere after the last ride and they threw a cover over it, or no cover at all? Does it still have bugs on it from the last ride? I mean, these are all things, because people that really take care of their bikes, that is not a factor. They are clean. They are well taken care of. Even when they're put away, they're maintained, right? They've put fuel additive in it. They've probably got it plugged in. When I go to look, I want a cold start. So when I go look at a motorcycle, I don't want to feel the exhaust and it's warmed up already, I want a cold start. Usually on a cold start is where you hear excessive noises, how long does it take for the oil light to go off. That type of stuff is stuff that I'm looking for. So I want a cold startup. I always carry a long screwdriver with me too. You may ask why. Because you can take a long screwdriver, put it up against the engine, and it works kind of like a stethoscope. You can hear noises within the engine. So that's just something real quick that you can check. Also, everybody's like maintenance records. I'll be honest, a lot of people don't keep maintenance records. If I were to give you my maintenance records, I keep really good maintenance records. But my maintenance records are on a Excel spreadsheet. If you were to ask who did it, when it was done, I can tell you when it was done. I can tell you with what it was done. I can tell you how much it cost when it was done. But my records are my records. They're not from a dealership, right? So how much do you trust the person that's telling you this is my records? Well, general rule of thumb for me is if they know what they're talking about, like when I say, you know, what kind of oil do you run? What kind of oil you run in transmission? How frequently do you change oil? When's the last time you had your brakes done? How about tires? If they can bang off answers to those questions, then they've probably taken pretty good care of the bike and it's probably in pretty good shape. If they are like, I don't know, I don't know the last time, they kind of hum and haw, I don't know any of the records, then they probably didn't take very good care of it. Now, that doesn't mean that the bike is bad. In fact, the people that take less care of their bike are easier to negotiate with than the guy that knows every nook, every cranny, every oil change, all of that. Because they know their bike, they probably know what that bike is worth, and they're going to be pretty sticklers to the price that they want. Whereas the guy that's just kind of hum and hose, he's probably going to give you a better deal. Now, last but not least is book value. And this one comes up a lot. People are like, what is the value of the bike I'm looking at or the bike that I'm going to sell? We're going to flip over to the computer and I'm going to show you what I do. I use NADA, but let's go hop on the computer. I'll show you that and then we'll call it a wrap. So let's go check that out. All right, so this is the NADA site or JD Power. And you can see once you get here, you can choose, they do cars, motorcycles, the whole 9 yards. But I've got Harley Davidson up here. And I'm just gonna do the bikes that I actually own. That just makes it easy. So 2005, motorcycle body style. And then you can, right here's the list of all the different bikes. As you can see, Fatboy Screaming Eagle is right here. So I will click on it. Then it asks for your zip code. You can even check if it's outside the US. All right. So you can select options, price with standard equipment, or you can select your options. I always just go with the price with standard equipment. I know the person may have added stuff on there and you can negotiate that whenever, but I'm just looking for a base value. So when I get here, it tells me what it sold for brand new, which was $27,995. Low retail value, $55.80. Average retail value, $73.40. So this is what my silver bike would be book value. Of course, I have really high miles, so it wouldn't be. But I am always looking to buy around that low retail value. So if I was looking to buy this bike, I would be looking to buy it at $5,580 or less, somewhere in that vicinity. So, maybe $6,000. I would be okay with. But that's how I value my bikes. I come here, I get kind of a base value, then you've got to know what you're willing to pay, what they're asking, and if you look at a bike online and they're asking $10,000 for it, the chances of you getting them to where you want to be are very, very low. So I don't know that I'm even going to go look at that bike just because you're that far off on the price. All right, guys, so that was a quick little rundown of like some of the ways that I look at a bike when I'm buying a used bike, the way I look up a value and kind of get a base value, and just kind of an overall generalization of when I'm buying a used motorcycle. This was based around Harleys because that's what I know the most about and that's what I buy the most. But you could apply these principles to any brand and do just fine. There's the hunters. Look. Say hi, honey. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. We just got a phone call that a Nerdy Badger was on her way down here and a car rear-ended her. So, sorry. Baby Badger was on her way down here and she got rear-ended on the highway. So they're actually on the phone and they're talking about that now. Doesn't look like there's any major damage, but I need to go handle that. So I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.